Yes, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our April 7th regular council meeting. It's 1 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order and start off with the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations, which includes Curb Lake, Hiawatha, Alderville, Scugog Island, Rama, Beausoleil, and Georgina Island First Nations. The Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaties First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. I'm now going to go into a moment of silent reflection for council and staff to quietly reflect on our duty to the community that we represent. Thank you. Yeah, I'll ask everyone to make sure your cell phones are off or placed on vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And to remind council of the declaration of pecuniary interest, if it arises, declare it then. And we're gonna another introduction here for a new employee, Taylor Stark. Welcome, Taylor. Taylor's our new community coordinator, and she's just started the role last week. So I don't know, do you have anything, Bob?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, we are welcoming Taylor to our team today. Taylor, as our community coordinator, will work with our Economic Development Committee and work with economic development and tourism opportunities, working with local businesses, local community groups, as well as providing frontline customer service to all of our citizens here in the township. So Taylor brings great organization abilities to us. She's organized a number of events while working with the Lindsay Agricultural Society and the Lindsay Exhibition. You work with over 60 vendors there. Working at Trent University did over 13 convocations, helped organize those. And I think we found the right person for our fishing derby, because working with the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters, Taylor has organized large-scale fishing events for them. So lots of event organizing experience, customer service, and we're very happy to have you. So welcome, Taylor.
Thank you.
Welcome. So yeah, so we look forward to working with you, and the council's all met you, but there's a lot going on, and hopefully we can get some things moving again. So thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you.
You. So we have minutes here from the regular council meeting from March 17th. I'll look at all you minutes, the falls in order. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we're going to move right into delegations. We have one delegation scheduled today, and that's Eric Hanna with regards to the Alto high-speed rail petition. So, welcome, Eric.
It's been a little while since I've done the clicker thing like that. Good afternoon, members of council and Mr. Mayor. It's my pleasure to be here today and to provide you with a little bit of insight that I wanted to share with you regarding the Alto. And most of this, as I said, comes as a result of the last council meeting, where I'm not sure that everybody put their best foot forward in terms of being clear and articulate in terms of what we wanted to say or do with respect to Alto. And so, as opposed to festering and getting a little upset, I decided I would write a letter to you folks and ask that I could be a delegate to come here. As I said, most of you know me. I've been here in the lake, on Belmont Lake all my life. And my grandparents even came up here in 1934. So been here in this community for a long time, and certainly have a passion for Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, and in fact, many rural communities. I've got about 7 slides here. They were shared with you in advance, but I hope that I will quickly go through them and emphasize a few things for you. And then at the end of it, should there be any questions, I'd be happy to take them then. So as I said, I was at the last council meeting, and I must admit that when I went back through the YouTube, and that's all I could really do was go through that, but I didn't see the minutes. So you just approved the minutes, but I haven't seen them yet. So I don't know what was actually said and what the motions were. I don't know if they got posted or not, but when I did this and sent in my note to you to be asked to be here as a delegation, it was before there were any minutes that were transcribed. And so certain things may be a little bit out of sync with respect to that. But my perception was anyway, that the rationale that was there to support your motion of not supporting the Alto wasn't clear, and it wasn't a concise motion as being required. And I would like to suggest respectfully that in order to be accountable to the community, you need to be very clear and have defensible positions put forward to say why you didn't support certain things. And I believe that at the last meeting, that wasn't necessarily the case. And I think as well that it's important as well that that council also look at being able to clearly articulate this and provide that sound rationale to the community, both for the short term and for the long term going forward, because I'm more concerned about the longer term implications should this go ahead. So as I mentioned earlier, I want to talk about being why you want to be accountable to the community. And really it comes down in my mind of really being here. And I know all of you are because I've interfaced with you many, many times. You're here to make information based on the best interest of the public and provide something that's in the public interest. And I believe that you can clearly articulate why it is that you don't support the Alto in a more defined manner, and really showing how it's not in the best interest of our local constituency. I think the other thing that's there too, and all of us talk about it as well, as being accountable and transparent to the community. And again, that just goes by having clearly articulated rationale as to why you don't support certain things. And I know many of you understand that, because I, like you, have been to many of the sessions. Looking around the room, 1, 2, 3, all of you I saw out either in Sterling or in Marmora or in Madoc rather, or you were all there. You've all heard what the negative parts are, but we just need to make sure they clearly are articulated. And when I say that, because when I take a look at other councils and see what they have, it's very, very clear as to why they don't support one. The other thing that's there as well that I think that is there is that and this is something that I picked up when I was at the Sterling session, and one of the senior facilitators that was there and said there will be further discussions with councils about the negative impacts, but more importantly, what we're going to do to mitigate them. And so, for example, if you're going to have a road blocked off, the sense was then to say, well, what are we going to do then? Will that mean another road that'll have to be built, et cetera? Or will that mean that a bridge will have to be built, et cetera? What I'm concerned about, though, is that to say that when Alto comes in and starts to have the discussion with you and or the CAO, et cetera, you want to make sure that you clearly understand all these negative implications, because they are going to be there to saying, we are here to help to provide something that'll help to mitigate what those concerns would be. They told me that because they know that there will be negative implications, as you guys have said. I get it. You've said that as well. But what I'm worried about is if we don't clearly understand what the real negative implications are now, you might miss something. And I used the example of saying, and we don't know where the route's going to go yet or what it's going to be, and it may not even come here. I get that. But let's say, for example, that the route and what happened with Alto, it required us 5 years down the road that we were going to have to build a new fire hall, because we now have the fire hall segregated by lack of access or something like that. I don't want to be a taxpayer and you coming back to me in 5 years down the road and saying, whoops, our roads now are all buggered up. We got to build a whole new fire hall. So I really caution you folks to make sure that we understand what the problems are now, but what they could be, because I'm afraid when Alto's done, they're done and they're not going to come back. So if they put a bridge or an overpass in 5 years down the road, I remember sitting through your budget deliberations, and unless things have changed, and I see your treasurer's over here, but I'm pretty sure he would tell me that you have a deficiency in the capital for the roads budget. You don't have money in there now to go out and start to maintain roads and things like that and overpasses, et cetera. Who's going to be paying for that? So it's all those type of things that I think when we understand what the problems are now, but I ask you to please consider what they are going to be down the road so that you're ready when they come here. So, and I believe that, and I think they believe that they can possibly pay people out. Might be the case because of the 90 billion or whatever the case may be. There's enough money in there to give some money there, but I don't know how you're going to get money for something that might happen 5 years down the road. You decide, no, I need another fire truck 5 years down the road because I need another pumper truck because my response time is too slow, whatever it is. It's going to be 5 years down the road. And that's what I'm afraid of. That'll come back and hit us as a taxpayer. What do I do now? There we go. Implication. Was that you doing that, Lee? So a couple of things, and I think you mentioned them as well. The reduction and what I tried to do was, this isn't about quote Eric per se, or where it may impact me. I'm trying to look at this. What is it really for you as counselors to saying, what should I be worried about? And I think the first one is that if the property values do go down, everybody, then your tax base will go down as well. If they expropriate properties, now you're going to have even less. So looking at it that way, and I sat through your budget deliberations, they were painful, although they're better, they're getting better, not enjoyable. But if you have a lower tax base, then that means that's going to be something that's there. The increased road expenses, I talked about that one earlier, the emergency services, and again, that's that fire that was there. I think the other one that is there that I think we need to understand as well is the disruptions to local businesses. And you saw Brent Berry on the Checks TV and talking about what it could mean in terms of access to his business, right? And he's trying to get fuel down up to the lake, et cetera, and things like that. We don't know where the road's going to go, but this isn't just about individuals, it's about the businesses as well. So these were all circulated before, and I think most of you are aware of what they are. I wanted to, on the next slide, just highlight three different things, and it's a little bit hard to follow here. Alto has gone out and said that they're prioritizing routes that go along existing infrastructures such as highways, railways, and power lines. So the one in particular that I was interested in taking a look at was the hydro corridor that is just to the north of us here. And a couple of things that I want to point out to you. And so the one that's in the top right there, where you see 116, and then you see an 81 meters. So what that is that's the distance from the hydro lines to your water tower. It's 81 meters. Okay? So if they were going to put the train going down there beside that hydro corridor, you got 65 meters for the hydro corridor. You've only got 81 meters there. I don't know if they were planning on then on perhaps relocating your water tower, et cetera, but that whole route along that side is going to significantly impact the infrastructure that the town could have. The next one that's up there is the other one to the left-hand side of that, and that's McLean Avenue. And if I did it correctly there and it goes along there, there are probably about 10 properties that would have to be expropriated because you're within the 65 meters or too close to it. And the last one that's there is the bottom one and this is a picture really of the watershed area. And you will see that if you had the train go adjacent south of the hydro corridor, you'd be going through your water source protection area. And I think Mr. Mayor, you've talked about that one as well. But there's several things here that are infrastructure for the town that you need to be aware of. I don't know that you want to go in and say, well, we'll just relocate the water tower or something like that. You just built the darn thing. But that hydro corridor, I think, is something that we all should be quite concerned about. The next one then that I just wanted to highlight was that, and then people will often come back and talk about what are the implications on the environment or nature, et cetera. And one of the things that's there is the wildlife migration patterns. And what you can see there is that that whole area where that hydro corridor is, The dark blue area is the migration path. So the deer, in fact, come from down the Trent River area and further south and then go up through that. And you guys have heard as well about how Alta will build these bridges over top, right, for the to allow the animals to go across. And people may come back and saying, well, how many animals go across here? No, we're right in a migration area. So there's some evidence to suggest that. The other ones are the big ones that are there, and I think many of you are aware of them as well. I think, and I know this is where council has struggled with this one as well. Transportation, doesn't matter if it's the city of Ottawa or a high-speed one, etc., is generally going to be subsidized by the government because you can't pass on all the costs. In fact, what we're seeing right now is that Alto is likely to be subsidized to the tune of about $2.5 billion a year. And so we know that there'll be a cost. My question, I guess, and I think of all these ones that are here on the bigger macro picture of one, is really just saying, why do we want to subsidize something that is going to benefit such a small number of people? So back to your point about the high frequency, at least there's something else that is there. This one, though, I think it's a huge cost and will benefit a very, very small number of people directly. So the last slide that I have then, and I think it may come up then when you do your further discussions, then please clearly articulate then the number of issues that you see that are bothersome to you and that negatively impact the community. As well, please make sure you have a fulsome understanding of the implications so that when we understand, you have that discussion with Alto and you say the road will be blocked. Yes, and we're going to put in an overpass. Okay, I agree. You're going to put in an overpass. Who's going to pay to replace that concrete 10 years down the road? Who's going to pay for this and this and this? Okay. So please, that's why I think it's just, don't just do the list. Please do the detail behind it. I think as well that we need to make sure that we communicate clearly to our MPP, although our MP rather. I know you've done that. I don't think they didn't necessarily have a fulsome response, which is probably not unexpected, but we need to do that, make sure she has that. I think as well, it would be nice to try an awful lot of town halls with her. I don't expect that she'd necessarily come out, but I am seeing an awful lot of communities now are just doing the town halls by themselves, and maybe that would be something you would do, just say that we would do it without her. And I think the last one then is, and I talked to a couple of you about this, communication. I get it, being in the hospital business as well. How the heck do you get the messages out to people? You get it out, you put it in the rail. Well, guess what? Then the rail's out, but you've already moved on. I saw that happen on the budget. I don't know how you're going to get it out to people, but I think I know that when I went around the lake and other people in town, an awful lot of people don't even know about Alto, let alone what your position is. I don't know how you get that out. I can say though that the latest one that a member here in the chambers today sent me was Mississippi Mills. They posted the 2-page letter that the mayor wrote to the MPP, and it's right there on their website, etc. But you can't do it by the rail, unfortunately. And much as I still like to read the community press, the last time they covered anything local as well, I don't know what it is, but there is a huge number of people out there who just don't understand it. And I think if you take the stance and you really clearly demonstrate that this is why we don't support it and these are the implications, I think then people will say then you are being accountable to them and you're acting in the public interest.
Okay. All right, Eric, thank you very much for your presentation. And I'll start off here with everything that you've talked about. This council has done really well at their job as far as most of the things that you've talked about there. These are our radar too, and even the motion later covers a lot of things that we missed at the last meeting. As far as communication and how we move forward, I'm in discussion with mayors in Peterborough County along the proposed route, and we've talked about how we can, unite. One of the things that I found in some of these things, there is some grandstanding going on. I said to Emma that it's too bad it's an election year because some people are using this for a platform instead of really seriously being concerned. But moving forward, I think all of this stuff is going to come out. That's what the consultation period is for. I think we're all aware, if we haven't heard it from Alto, we've heard it from emails. We get lots of them every day with regards to this, and I think we're on top of it. We have all went to the consultation. I went to all of them. I think most of us have. So that's our way of keeping on top of it. I did talk to Emma yesterday through text, and she's going to come out with once the second phase of the consultation is over, she will be voicing her opinion on it. She's hearing it too. She's said, like, you know, she's not living in a hole. She's hearing the complaints, and I've seen the Prime Minister on TV today, and he's hearing it too. So, like us using consultants to do jobs, if we jump in ahead of the time, we've paid them to do the consulting. Nobody has come up with how we're going to pay for this thing. That's going to be a big question. Dean Delmaster was on the news last week, and he spoke very well of trying to move projects forward. You know, it's easy to just say no, but I think we've done good at some of the things that we've done here, because we've had more skin in the game than a lot of these municipalities that are speaking up against it. Some of them weren't even in the game anyways. Like, other than on a map, they're showing their township. With the high frequency, the reason we keep speaking to that is I've been involved with it for probably 8 years when it was the high frequency and when it was Shining Waters. And Havelock was going to benefit from this thing big time. And that's why we keep, as much as it may never happen, that's why in the consultation process, we keep bringing it up. Like, I think the deputy mayor asked, how did we get here? How did we get to high speed from high frequency? We haven't got that answer yet, but we're going to get it. But moving forward, I think some of the stuff, I think we're a little ahead of ourselves, but it's good to keep on top of it. That's what we've been doing too, is trying to keep ahead of it. But I think moving forward, once this process is done on April 24th, and it goes to the next phase, that's when it's going to really get serious, because once it gets down to the 10 kilometers, it's going to go to 10 kilometer. I talked to them at Sterling last week, or 10. Yeah, they're working on a 10 kilometer swath. Then the next phase will go down to the 1 kilometer. Then it'll go to the 60 meter. Right now, it's a poor process they're doing, and we've said that. It's it's like throwing mud on the wall and see what sticks. But this is what they've chose, and it may make it fail by doing it this way, but we'll see where it goes and how it falls out. But I'll open up to council, and if you want to speak to, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Thank you very much for the presentation today, Eric. You've very nicely outlined a lot of the concerns, as the mayor stated, shared by council and a lot of the public in terms of the emails we've been receiving over the last 2 months. I'll just get into maybe the last part of the mayor addressed a lot of what you spoke to earlier in terms of our communication with the public. So kind of what we're discussing now, we haven't obviously made the motion or finalized the plans, but we do have another tax bill going out, I believe, at the end of June. So council is planning on having a separate, probably two-sided sheet with information on Alto, council's position on it, whatnot, maybe other avenues where people that, to your point, if they don't know about what's going on, there'll be links there where they can find out more information. As well, we're planning on contacting the lake associations. We know a lot of the people that don't get this information, as you referred to, are on the lakes. So I think the CAO will be blasting out to them the message that will hopefully, once it's done, will be on our website that kind of syncs up with other townships in terms of laying out what's there. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the notice of motion that's coming later in the meeting. I hope that's a little more detailed and a little more kind of what you're looking for. I think in the last meeting, I'm the one that made the motion, so I'm not making excuses because of your point, but this does need to be communicated very clearly. We're just receiving a lot of pressure in terms of getting the word out there that we are not for this, because a lot of people were coming to us saying that because there had been no statement in terms of a yes or no, that we were for it, which is not where from where I sit, where this council has ever been. So more than anything, we wanted to get that, no, we're not for it. And hopefully with this next motion, some of those reasons in terms of moving forward and the answers we're looking for can be explained or given to us in a little more concise manner. So
No, I appreciate that. And I saw the motion after I presented my letter. So hopefully it may influence some of the decisions that were there, but, and as I said, you folks, you talked about them, right? It just wasn't there the last time, and that's what I was really worried about.
Understood.
Okay, Councillor Clement?
Through you, Mayor Martin. So thank you, Eric. When I went to one of the meetings, I had talked to fellow, and so the next day I sent an email about what happens when you have a wildfire and the train's going through. I have yet to get an answer. I'm still following up. I'm yet to get an answer, but yeah, we're good points, and we're trying to convey to people we do care. We really do. I mean, it's our home, right? So, it's very understandable. We're trying to get there.
Questions?
Yeah, through you, Mayor Martin. Actually, I'm disturbed. It's not even really a question. I think it's unfair for the government to take the people's land. And I mean, that's gonna happen as soon as possible. And as far as I'm concerned, the government is just pushing this under. We're just all arguing about, wildlife, and I get it. And I don't want the train going there. It's not making sense to me. How can you divide our province? Sorry, I was gonna say our country, but our province. So in my respects, I really feel that something needs to be done now before it goes on to the next stage. I think that is a huge mistake. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Jerry?
Oh, yeah, I'll just
go
back.
Thanks, Eric, for your presentation. I have a little bit of a problem with a couple things. Number one is I read the motions again that were put at the last meeting, and we were very straightforward. No was in there twice.
Agreed.
So I'm not sure we can put it in lights and put it on the billboard. The second thing is we hear a lot about it. I've heard about it for the last 3.5 years. Communication. I would be delighted if you could tell us how we could communicate better than we are now, because I'm all ears, because we want to get the word out with social media, Facebook, the rail. Tell us what I hear this word, although we don't have any communicate. Tell us what you want and where you want it, because I can't open your computer for you. But help me out here. Thank you.
No, and I said, people probably won't know, but again, the first thing that I do in the morning when I get up is I walk out to the mailbox down Mile of Memories, and because guess who's in the mailbox? It's the Toronto Star. I'm still reading that. Like I get the Gold Mail online, right? But not a lot of people do. The challenge I think we have, and I'm speaking from my experience in being a small hospital CEOs in rural communities. I've done that for 35 years. It's the timing. What is the mechanism to get the timing out to people? But something like the rail that is only every week, every month, and it's already 2 weeks too late. It's not helpful. I did go to the community press when I was at CMH, and I send them down press releases. And this may be something then, Mr. CAO, maybe it's something then that your new tourism economic development person then can take a look at. Is there something then that we can actually issue press releases to somebody about a story? Many of these papers, I'm telling you, they're starving for content. So when I used to send them out in Arnprior and in Campbell, they'd pick them up like that and they print them word for word, but it would still say, written by. I said, I think it wasn't written by you guys at all. It's written by us. But getting press releases out to people on something would be helpful as well. I've been to, as you folks know, I went to your George Street session. Like you're making every effort to be there for those type of things. And many of you have come to the lake associations. I do believe that's a good idea. The lake association has a mailing list and they can get things out to people on a regular, timely basis. It's what is that mechanism that's timely? Because you guys, as you said, it changes and it'll be somebody else that's going to come through after something else happened and said, well, I didn't see what it is. And it's the same thing for your minutes of the last meeting. You're right. I did hear you clearly say at the last meeting, everybody said, no, we don't support it. I just did not hear all these different things why, and people then will go back, and worst case scenario in my mind was say, well, people go back and say, well, we don't support because we want the high frequency. No, there are an awful lot of things that more negatively impact the community now. So that's why I want that message to go out to people. So I'd go back, ask your new person for the community session, see if there's something that's there that they can go do it. Lake associations, website that's there. I don't know how many people are going to your website.
Follow up to that, I didn't hear other than getting a press release to the
Yeah.
community press, what are you asking or what do you want us to, other than that? Because it only comes out, it comes out on a regular basis.
It comes out every Thursday.
Yeah, it's so Thursday, and it's probably a week behind, so it'd be 2 weeks behind. I'm not hearing the magic book.
It's not, no, like, if there's a cutoff deadline for it, if you give that to them, say, for example, on a Monday, it'll be in that Thursday paper. It's very timely, and it's delivered to everybody here in town.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that's a,
You're not gonna drive people to your website.
So without dating myself, when I first started on council, we had a table here with the Havelock Citizen
Oh, yeah.
Community Press, and they sat here and they took the notes, and we were in the next week's, and that was our communication. We didn't have video, we didn't have all of this other stuff, and that's where it gets frustrating, I think, like, Councillor Doherty's saying, is we're trying, we had a meeting just about how do we get the communication out, because, we're trying, and it's getting better and better than it used to be. But,
And then, you got your electronic sign that's down there. That could be something there, but what are you gonna put up there? Council votes not in favor of Alto, and people whiz and buy their
the water,
put one of the 32 things that are on there.
Yeah, exactly.
One every time they drove by.
you gotta eat supper there and watch the whole thing. So, but the waterfront meetings start tomorrow night, actually. I have one tomorrow night, and then they go right through as far as Zoom meetings. Some are Zoom, some are in person, so it's about 50-50, but it'll be a topic at all of the association meetings.
I get a blast from you folks, more about tendering a particular project or something like that. I don't know what I signed up for, but something or other I signed up for anyway, that says such and such is posted on the website now. I mean, I get those about, I don't know, a couple of times a week. So you have a mailing list that you do email to people. What, I don't know what,
I think
who it is and what, and could it be included in that?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, what you're referring to is the subscription to our
Thank you.
website and
No charge.
pages and no charge. So yes, citizens can subscribe, and when we post something there, you get the notification. So that tool is available as well. And that's an instant. As soon as the information's available, boom, you get it.
Okay. All right, did you have any last thing here before we move on?
quickly, I just wrap up, like, a few comments I forgot to make. I think I thank you for your presentation, Eric. I know there's a few other people here. I see Mr. Kent, audience as well. People in our community that are doing their best to speak out, get information out to people about this project and the harms that it will bring to our community if it does come. So just like to say thank you for that. Keep doing what you're doing. I think we're already kind of see the dam break here a little bit in terms of this high-speed rail project. There's been a few announcements over the weekend. We've just found out that the finance minister's partner is the vice president of Alto, so which just makes it a little more binding. And I imagine over the summer, a lot more shoes are going to drop on this. So as I said, the people who are against it, and keep up the good work. And as I said, I think if we keep doing what we're doing, we'll end up with the result we're looking for. So thank you, Eric.
So, thank you, Eric, and motion to receive the notification. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Flagg. All in favor? Carried. All right, we're gonna move into staff reports for information. We have 6 of them here. First item for information is Parks and Recreation event held on municipal property, Cashbog Lake Regatta. The next item with Parks and Rec was HPM Community Center grounds for events held there. I think that was on the weekends. Provincial budget 2026, there was some information there that good to read. Property tax calculator on the website for people to look up. It's a good tool, new. Connecting Link grant funding, we did receive some Connecting Link money. There's another one that was given to us that nobody else has the honor of having, a piece of Highway 7. And then the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund, we received some money there. So is there any questions with any of these items that were for information only? If not, I'll go ahead and
Yeah, through you, Mayor Martin. The Connecting Link grant funding,
Mhm.
is this for the Four Corners or is it for the highway from the Four Corners all the way to Mary Street?
Peter Moore.
Peter's here, so Peter.
Good afternoon, Mayor Methuen and members of the council. Yes, the connecting link funding is from our east to our west. It's the entire connecting link. We are starting with some boreholes actually tomorrow. Then we're going to move on into some CCTV work. And further to that, then we'll make the necessary repairs to our infrastructure. And depending on timing, but we're looking probably at next year after we make the repairs to do a brand new lift of asphalt from end to end line.
That would be done next year, you said?
If we cannot complete all our repairs this year, the paving right now looks like it will be next year's project.
Okay.
And the traffic lights are included in that too?
We were working on that, yes.
Okay. All right then. No other questions with regards to the information only items. I'll take a motion to receive them all. Moved by Councillor Clement, second by Councillor Doherty. All in favor? And that's carried. All right, staff reports for follow-up action. Parks and Rec, board for quotation, ballpark foods. Got
Hi, good afternoon, Mayor Martin, members of council. Yes, so we had a request for quotation out from February 26th to March 19th. It closed at 11 a.m. We received one bid from Tom and Danielle Moppa for $300.
All right, and so I have a recommendation there.
Motion
You're
to
gonna move the
approve.
recommendation. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb and second by Councillor Clement. Questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Right, next item here is Havelock Scouting and kind request.
Yes, to you, Mayor Martin. The Havelock Scouting Program had sent in a facility request for every Tuesday, starting March 31st from March 31st to December 29th from 6 to 8:30 p.m.
Good to see that all back open again, so the groups can use it. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, so the recommendation here is to approve. Moved by Councillor Clement, second. Councillor Flagler, all in favor? Carries. Next is the youth committee meetings.
Yes, to you, Mayor Martin, we've received an in-kind facility request from the HBM Youth Committee. They would like to be in the building from April 16th to December 18th, and that's every third Thursday from 6 to 8:30.
Todd? The recommendation, Councillor Clement, Deputy Mayor Webb. All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you so much.
The next item here is the Uniman Road. Thanks, Josh.
This report is to obtain council's approval to award tender contract number 6-02, rehabilitation of Uniman Road. Recommendation, council provides approval to award the tender contract number 2026-02, rehabilitation of Uniman Road to Drain Brothers Excavating in the amount of $799,193.78, including non-refundable HST.
Deputy Mayor Webb.
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor, just a question, Peter, if he budgeted on 1.5 million for the project and quite pleased that the number would come in as around 800,000, but I'm just wondering, kind of concerned too, that the number is so low. Is that, are we making sure that what we've budgeted for is completely
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Yes, Jewel Engineering is here too if we need to assist and help. But yes, they put the tender together on behalf of the township, and everything is noted in the tender. And Drains did meet all the regulations and stipulations set out in the tender. So yes, it is complete. Yeah. And coming from Jewel Engineering, that some of the bids they are receiving are very, very low, and the bidders are looking for work. So it's to our favor. We did get this out early in the year as well too.
Thank you for that, Peter. So yeah, to that's kind of where I was going, is just that when the number's that low, it kind of sets off alarm bells sometimes. Maybe Rob or somebody could comment on that. Is that what we're seeing kind of in the industry, is that we're getting more competitive numbers on our bids here in terms of tenders we're putting out?
Yes, that'd be correct. So what we are seeing is it is a competitive market right now. I will say, when we did the preliminary cost estimate, right now the length of Uniment Road was 1.3 kilometers. When we did our preliminary estimate was based on a road length that was longer than what actual Uniment is. So in all fact, it kind of inflated the numbers to the 1.2. When we've prorated back, and what we're seeing is numbers that are lining up with more in line, I guess, what our current bid was with the Drain Brothers excavating.
Thank you very much.
Kathy?
So through you, Mayor Martin, so I was involved in the tender. We had quite a discussion with the culverts. So I'm really super pleased with the price, and they are one of our major employees and tax bases. So I'd like to pass the motion to accept it.
Okay, so you're moving the recommendation.
Yes.
All right, do you have a seconder for that? Seconded by Deputy Mayor Webb. Questions, comments? Go ahead, Councillor Doherty.
If I may, put the mover and the seconder. I believe when we were doing the budget and during discussions for Indusman Road, we said we had contact with them, and they come back and said, get us a number and then we'll consider it. We have a number now. So rather than just go ahead and do it, I think my recommendation would be we send off an email or something to Covia and saying, this is the tender, what's your contribution going to be? I think that's what we're looking for. They haven't indicated, no, they aren't paying at all. They said, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is they said, when you get a number, let us know. So to just proceed now is it kind of takes away any negotiations you have or want to have with the contractor if we approve it prior to getting their input. Just my thoughts. And the other thing is we have to be very careful with the timing of it too. And I still am concerned about the culvert. Thank you.
Okay, so when that came forward there, I understood from that meeting that it was that, give us a number before we got this far. Now that we've done the tender, I would think that this is a price and I wouldn't want to hold it up, but I guess you could look at it that way, that you could say this is the number that we have to work from. But I think with Drains putting a price in, it was for the complete job. And I think if you start taking away from what they bid on, it throws the whole tender out.
May I follow up, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor? We're not changing the job. We're just changing how we're paying for the job.
So you want them to pay Drains instead of us?
No, I want them to contribute to the rebuilding of the road.
So the tender is to rebuild the road.
Yeah, and we're going to rebuild the road. We're asking them to contribute because that's what we talked about prior to even doing the tender.
So I don't know how you do that when you've got a tender here. If I bid on this job and then you're going to take, I don't know how you want the contribution to come. Drains has bid on this job as a whole. So if you want, I guess they can give us some money towards our budget. I don't know how that works. It would have been better to have maybe before the tender went out, asked, could you contribute some equipment or could you do some in-kind donations? But now that the tender's done, the tender won't be good if you're going to take work away from Drains.
Excuse me, and maybe do a follow-up. During our discussions, before we did the tender, we wanted to get to them to see whether they'd make a contribution. Their feedback was, get us a number. The only way we can get a number is to do a tender. Otherwise, we had the 1.2 in before, but that was just an estimate. I don't know how the two connected, but do whatever you like. I just think that it'd be nice if they made a contribution. They're the main users of the road, except for what, 3 honey camps?
Yeah, I just think when the tender went out, if they were gonna contribute, say, something, it should have been included in the tender. So they knew what they were bidding on, because it does change the tender if, that's just my thought. You can help me here if, that's the way I would look at it. If I was bidding on this job, it's, I bid on a certain job, part of the job, but go ahead.
Just through you, I just look to the CAO for maybe some clarity here in terms of, because I do remember there was a discussion about whether we were gonna ask them for a contribution to it. So was there a motion made during those discussions in terms of?
Through you, Mayor Martin, to clarify, there was a discussion during budget deliberations regarding this project. And there was a question raised about whether we should ask Covia for a contribution to the project financially. And the decision was taken by council to tender the project, get a number, get a total cost, at which point then council would reconsider approaching Covia and asking for a contribution. That was the discussion.
No motion, no.
I'm sorry, I'd have to go back and look at the minutes if there was a motion. I don't remember that off the top of my head. I'd have to look. But I do recall the conversation. And in previous discussions with Covia did ask for, they did not rule out making a financial contribution. They did ask for a specific request as to what the ask is.
So your mic on.
Yeah, so I'm just not that much clearer in terms of where we stand, to move this forward, right? I kind of agree with Councillor Doherty. It doesn't hurt to ask, right? But I also agree that, you know, it's here in front of us and we want to get this moving, and this needs to be done this year. We put it off last year, so we do all we can, you know, to have this done. I'll have to look to the mover to see if they would like to amend the motion.
No, I don't want to amend the motion. What I'd like to do is pass it. We did the tender early enough so we could get the construction work done. If we'd like to go, let's start the work, go to Covia and say, here's the price we got. We have to do the work. I mean, that's only fair to do the work. If they want to give us something, we talk about it, but we've got to get this moving. And if we defer it at all, you're going to lose it on the construction time again.
For that, I think that would be part of the motion, and yes, we would approve it, but we would approve it with the idea that we're going to Covia to ask them for a contribution.
Contribution, but it's not a demand. It's like
No, exactly, and we could move this today
Okay.
with the second part being a part of this motion. We're not putting this off.
Okay.
But to not ask if they've said that they might donate something to this, I think it's not very respectful to the taxpayers if someone's willing to give us money that we're going to charge them in the end, right? We should at least maybe look to see if we can get that money.
Taxpayers work there too. Anyways, I will amend the motion that we will commit this, but we ask for the staff to go and approach them for a donation contribution.
Okay, so
I'll second that.
yeah, okay, so we have a mover and a seconder, and they would be to approach Covia for a contribution. I would think that contribution would come to us, however it's done. You know, something that they can do. So, okay, all right. We'll have a mover and a seconder. Call a question. All in favor? Okay, thank you, Peter. All right, then. So the next is community grant application, Historical Society.
Through you, Mayor Martin, we have our first application for the community grant fund this year from the Historical Society, and this is for payment of their insurance. Council will recall that there was a grant application approved late last year for half of the payment of this invoice. So this request is now for the second half of the invoice and to complete the payment for 100%. So technically, it does not qualify for the grant. However, if council wishes to make an exception, you can certainly do that.
So the first part was acceptable, the one part of it. This is a second, this is basically, it's instead of 50%, it's looking for 100%.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So we have processed payment for the first half, and the grant that was approved by council. This is now for the second half.
Councillor Clement.
Mayor Martin, so I'm gonna say we can't do this because it doesn't qualify, and if we do this for one group, then the next group's gonna back and say, well, you're gonna have to pay our 100% too. And we've given out communities things in the past, so this doesn't qualify, so I'm saying no.
Yeah, it doesn't fit.
They should do some more fundraising. There's gotta be other ways around it, but this doesn't qualify.
So. Do I need a motion here? I don't see where it fits, that they kind of be the, and it does open up a can of worms for, we ran into this with the private road thing, similar things trying to double, so. Yeah, so. I think it's personally, it's a motion to deny this application.
Yeah, where we stand now, as I said, we can't violate the policy regarding the grants we have. What I would suggest is possibly we reach out to them and say that this request, we can't meet this request, but we are looking to maybe sit down with them and look for other ways to, you know, or at least help them in terms of starting up some fundraising where they can raise this money on their own, right? This group has done, they're still in the initial phases here of getting the Historical Society up and running, but I think the group that they have there is finally getting its feet under them, and they're doing a good job. And what they will bring to the community here eventually is something that, you know, we'll all benefit from. So while I don't think they qualify for this grant, as I said, I would be open to maybe having them work with council or staff to look at other ways that they can make up this deficiency.
So I did go to their last meeting and I tried to explain to them, this is where it falls back on the original thing when I said to them that they should look at becoming a committee of council. They wouldn't even have to get the first part of it, never mind the second part of it. If they become a committee of council, insurance is included in the deal. And it doesn't change anything. Everything stays the same. It's just that there would be a council representative on there and they would provide us something similar to community policing, those types of groups. They're all insured through that. So they really need to look at that. And same as Norwood's is, they're using the building over there and things, so the insurance is included in it. This is a simple fix, but I just don't think they're understanding it completely. So, but for today, we need the motion. The motion was
The question.
Yep.
Through you, Mayor Martin, my question is, last year, the insurance was $1,000 and we paid for half. And then are they coming back for another 500,000? Like you're saying that, and then, yeah, could you please clarify that?
Through you, Mayor Martin. No, this is the same application. So this is the same invoice. So the invoice that was presented in December was not paid until January. And the program allows for 50% of the cost to be covered by the community grant. So it was paid in January. We have processed a check for our 50% of that invoice. And that's why this request is now a duplication.
It's not for the next year's
No,
insurance?
No.
Okay. Okay.
So. Yeah, Councilor Doherty.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and speak to the motion. Couldn't agree more. Does not qualify, period. So that eliminates it from that grant program. Agreed. But it's $485.
We gave them that money though, last year for the insurance. If it was,
Jerry's,
sorry,
Councilor Doherty.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. My thoughts are is that we pay it out of council initiatives. But when we do it, we make it very clear to the Historical Society that this is one-off and that They have to set up a website, get a Facebook, and start looking at some avenues for revenue for next year, because this is a strictly a one-off. And for the reasons that you pointed out, there is alternatives. So anyway, that's my thoughts.
So we have we have a motion. Did we have a mover and a seconder on this or?
No, I have-
No,
Second.
okay, so you were speaking to a motion, so, okay. So that's a motion. You're making that motion. I've got it.
No, I made a suggestion
Yeah.
because there was already a motion on.
I just say to this, they do have a Facebook page. I believe, I know they do every monthly in the rail. I'm just worried, Councillor Doherty, that if we do this for them, somebody else is gonna come back and say, you gotta do it for me. That's my only concern.
So we don't have any motion right now. This is
I
just
think the motion
discussion.
was
You're
Right.
overnight. Okay, look, so let me finish with your motion. Is there a seconder for that motion?
The motion is just to
Point
deny.
Well, let me rephrase. Let me deny it, but we will go back and talk to them about fundraising initiatives. Because they're gonna have to become more self-sufficient, right? So they can afford to continue operating. But we can't, if we do this for this group, then you're gonna have it. Somebody come back and say, you did it for them one time, do it for us one time.
So there is a possibility of talking about it today, like we can finish the motion and get a seconder to deny it, but we can also, with the condition like Councillor Doherty's talking about, like you could tie them in together here, that we helped them through this year. That is denied because it doesn't fit.
Right.
But if you added to your motion that we, maybe tie in Councillor Doherty's thing here to help them with council initiatives, but let them know this is it. Because they're already going to be looking for next year's. So they need to come up with a program because we can't carry it every year. It's not a committee of council. We can't just keep giving them $2,000 a year. So it would be good if it was included in your motion. Otherwise, like that would speed up the process, I think, to help them. They need the money to survive. But we can't give it to them this way.
Right, and I realize that. I just worry about the other groups. That's my only concern.
Well, that's what I mean. So we're not agreeing to it through this program.
Is this, sorry, through you to the CEO, is this time sensitive? Like, do they need this money? Work out, then to your point, then yeah, maybe we have to bail them out with some kind of council initiative or something like that. But it's gets back to kind of where we were with Uniman. Let's at least ask the question to see if they can pay the bill. And then that way we're not putting it on the backs of the taxpayers.
So like you're saying, so for today though, if we deny this, because it doesn't fit into the program and meet with them and come up with a plan, that's exactly what we need to do.
That's all I'm saying. And maybe nothing comes of that. And maybe next meeting or 2 meetings from now, we're back here. And yes, we're asking for a motion to give them
That's right.
to pay for it. But we need to stop going back to the taxpayer all the time to cover off these things. Too often, this is what we do. We're too afraid to ask people, whether it's Uniman or these other people. They all have chips in the game here. So, and the worst they can say to us is no, in which case, obviously, then we're gonna have to take it onto ourselves. But I think too often we don't go and ask these questions. And as I said, just revert back to the fact that we have unlimited funds because we have the taxpayer paying for it. So
for today, if we make a motion that we deny it because it doesn't fit into the program, but then we come up with another motion similar that we speak to the group and see if there's a way of helping them. Like to make it go, it would be a separate thing. It's not time sensitive like we just heard. So we got to get this out of the way first. We can't pay for it. So there is a motion that we deny this part of it because it doesn't fit. We just need a seconder for that.
No, I have a question.
Go ahead.
And I'm sorry. I'm very confused here. So the $1,000 they put in last year in December, we paid half of it. Correct? Or did we not? Well,
Through you, Mayor Martin, yes, we paid half of the bill.
okay, so the argument of it doesn't fit, doesn't work because we already paid them. They're just coming back and they want the rest of the money. Right, they're doing, okay, I know, I understand that, but now you're saying that we don't cover insurance, but we already paid for half of it.
We're saying we don't cover the, what do you call it, the initiative,
initiative.
community initiative. We're not saying we're,
The way these grants work, they're 50%. So we paid 50% last year. But now they want the other 50% to
Well,
pay for the
no.
50%. So we're saying it doesn't fit in the program. Simple thing here today is just to deny the request because it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And we can even make a motion that we direct to staff or council goes to the group and says, you know, how can we help you? There is options here if we want to take it from the taxpayer. But there is a way of dealing with it to get them through this year. But they're going to have to come up with a plan for the long term. So for today, we need a motion to deny this because it doesn't fit into the thing. Because like Councillor Clement says, it opens up the floodgates for all of our other grants because you did it for them and you know how it works. So
Are you gonna call the motion?
I've got a seconder.
I second.
Did you second that
okay,
to deny?
yeah, and then we'll do a second motion to go.
Okay, mover and a seconder. Any other questions around the motion?
I thought the
Can you
motion
read the
had both
motion,
moved
Bob?
in.
You have the motion there?
He just corrected the motion for you.
No.
But
Bob,
he did.
You have a motion there.
Well, the motion was to deny the grant application. Now, if you'd like to add that we meet with them further to discuss, we can certainly add that.
Want that included as the same motion or you want a separate motion?
I think that needs to be part of this motion.
Okay,
So just include it into that motion that we
Yeah.
we approach them to see some alternative funding.
fundraising, whatever.
So it's got that in the motion, it's all together. That we deny this application, but we approach them to help them, see if we can help them with some alternative funding.
And one question.
Yeah.
So, through you, Mayor Martin, so the community grant program does not pay for insurance? Is that what you're saying? Even though we did pay
It
for
does,
half? of
it pays 50%. It'll pay 50% of an initiative, but they're asking for 100%.
That's correct. That's exactly what's happening. So
Would that not be insurance from last year though that they tried and this year's
It
not
came due
paid?
in
Oh, yeah.
January.
All right, thank you.
I think we can eliminate the word insurance out of it. It's an
Yeah.
expense,
Right.
that they get to qualify 50/50 on that.
Okay,
And
but
that-
they can apply at the end of the year and we'd still give them half. What are you saying, no? Well, they applied last year in December and you paid for half the insurance.
And this
So
is
they
still the
pay-
same insurance. This
Yes,
is-
I know, I get that. And then if they apply again in December of this year, they would get half,
they-
correct?
They could if they,
All right, so then
if it's
maybe,
accepted,
okay. Thank you.
okay?
Yeah.
All right, so we have a mover and a seconder that we deny and we approach the group to see if there's another alternative funding method, so. I'm gonna call a question. All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the Seabrook Monument. And we have a. With regards to the stone across the way and it goes through the thing of what it costs to put a plaque on there of $39.69. Now here again, it's open to us. We can either deny or we can pay for it, or I had asked Bob about option 3 would be that we look at some alternative plaque to make sure that we've researched this and I think Bob was working on another group for funding, but Deputy Mayor Webb, you want to speak?
Yeah, through you, Mary. I was just gonna ask the CAO if maybe he could give a brief synopsis in terms of the plaque and what we're looking at doing over there and the funding available for it.
So through you, Mayor Martin, we have made a submission to the Ontario Heritage Trust. They have a historical plaque program. We've made a submission. We have not received a response. I don't know a timeline for that. It's a little bit like applying for any other grant. You kind of have to just wait and see if you're successful or not. I'm not sure if it qualifies, but we certainly sent it in. We are waiting for that. I believe there is that's a provincial program. I believe there is a federal one as well that we can apply to. We can certainly apply to anything that's out there and then see what it.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll make a motion that it's not listed on here, that we go with option 3 in terms of. You said you've already made an application to the province, so maybe if there was a federal one, we could also follow up with an application to the federal program. And proceed there until, and I guess await a response, and I guess if it's a yes, then we're good, and if it's a no, then we'll have to readdress once we've been told, so. What was the funding allocation for that, Bob? Is it 100% covered, or do we know?
I believe it is 100% covered, and they have a specific platform that they use, and if they deem it to be historically significant, they will come and bring the plaque.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so second by Councillor Doherty. Any questions around the motion? All in favor? And that's carried. All right, that's so moving into correspondence now. We don't have any action items, but over the next few weeks or months, I'm sure there will be lots of information items with regards to Alto. We have several things on here from ratepayers and people outside of the community concerned over this Alto rail, so high-speed rail. So and I've already sent a couple more to Bob that will probably be on the next agenda. I think we should keep it on here and keep, it's kind of a communications thing, try and keep these up so people see that we are listening and hearing. So the other items here are hospice, Peterborough, and community care. These are information items, so basically just a motion to receive correspondence for information. Being moved by Councillor Clement. Second, Councillor Doherty. All in favor? That's carried. All right, we're going to move into committee liaison report. I don't think there was much out of the county last week. So I'll move into the activity report for council, and we have Kathy, you had library board agenda and minutes from January 22nd, and trying to catch up here, but and then we had the agenda for March 19th. Is there any questions for Kathy with regards to those minutes? Okay, and then the next item, Jerry, Councillor Doherty had a community policing meeting February 11th. So did you have anything to add to that?
No, it's we've selected the 3 dates for the Cram Cruiser, which are minutes. We have to do an extra one because we don't have Celebrate Havelock this year to contribute to our funds, but nothing else has changed.
Okay. Jerry, are they all at Foodland as usual?
No,
Foodland, perfect, good.
we're going to do it at the other store, Wegmans. I think.
Yeah,
Wegmans, I think.
I don't know how to make sure, okay.
Good. All right, then, so motion to receive the reports. Moved by Deputy Mayor Webb, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? And that carries. And then we move into the written or oral notice of motion, and notice of motion here from written motion from Deputy Mayor Webb. So quite a long one. Did you want to read it?
Yeah, sure. Thank you to Mr. Mayor. This is we just to provide a little more background and detail to the motion that was made last week regarding Alto. So the motion is written, whereas the Council of the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen has discussed the Alto high-speed train proposal at the open session council meetings held on December 2nd, 2025 and March 3rd, 2026 and March 17th, 2026. and feedback regarding the train proposal has been received by members of council from the community via numerous emails, letters, and in-person discussions. And whereas the council and residents of the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen have many unanswered questions. Sorry, it's keep popping up on my screen. Have many unanswered questions regarding the federal government's proposed Alto high-speed train project. And whereas some of the concerns expressed by council include the possible route of the train, the long-term impact on rural life.
Want my paper?
Yeah, sorry, it keeps popping up on my thing here. Why is it doing that?
We're losing the effect of the motion.
Sorry. I'll start that again. Whereas the council and residents of the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen have many unanswered questions regarding the federal government's proposed Alto high-speed train project. And whereas some of the concerns expressed by council include the possible route of the train, the long-term impact on rural life, expropriation of land, reduction in property values, environmental damage, geographic division of the township and individual properties, reduced access to roadways and connections to Highway 7, negative impacts on local businesses, tourists, and cottagers due to disrupted transportation routes, potential for increased costs to the township and increased local taxes if new roads are required to be constructed and maintained in order to reroute traffic, lack of community benefit, impact on farmland, the noise generated by train travel, challenges for emergency services due to the rerouting of traffic, and train travel through rural areas, particularly during forest fire season, as well as the overall cost of the project. And whereas there has been no detailed business plan provided by Alto to the township outlining the proposed benefits or possible liabilities associated with the project, and whereas correspondence was sent to Alto and Member of Parliament Emma Harrison on March 6, 2026, requesting that a public meeting be held in HBM and that an explanation be provided as to why the high-frequency train proposal was abandoned. And whereas the responses received did not provide any new details or answers to the many questions and concerns that have been raised by the township, and whereas the currently proposed Alto high-speed train project does not provide tangible community benefits for the township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, be it resolved the council does not support the current plan for a high-speed train as proposed by Alto.
Thank you. Do you want to read it one more time? I missed a couple.
Yeah, let me do it off my computer.
So, okay, so you're moving,
That's a motion.
yeah, and second by Councillor Doherty. Questions, comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next item here is other business. And Art, you're back on with regards to fishing derby?
Yeah, just we've got a date for this year's fishing derby, as you can see on the agenda. It's Saturday, March 23rd, which will be this Saturday after
May 23rd.
May 23rd. Thank you, Councillor Flagler. Which is the Saturday after the long weekend in May. So as I said, it's nice to hear that Taylor is background with OFA, so possibly we'll have OFA out there. I know our firefighters will be there running the volunteer barbecue as usual. So just to hope for good weather and another good turnout this year. So
Okay, all right then. That's all we have for other business. So if there's no questions for Deputy Mayor Webb, we'll look for a motion to receive that report, and moved by Kathy, second by Bev. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so we do have a closed session. So I'm just gonna look for a motion that we take a recess for 10 minutes, and we'll come back to closed session. So moved by Councillor Doherty, second by Councillor Clement. All in favor? Carried. Okay, so I'll look for a motion that we go into closed session, held under second. Motion to resume open, okay. Moved by Councillor Doherty, second by Councillor Flagler. Favor, carried. Okay, now a motion to go close. And held under section 239(2)B, personal matters about identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and 239(2)E litigation, potential litigation, including matters for administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. So I think Jerry moved that. to go into close, and Councillor Clement seconded it. All in favor, and that's carried. So. All right, so, motion. We're back in open, so do you want a motion to resume open?
Motion to resume? Yep.
Kathy and Hart, all in favor, carried. Great. And there's nothing to come out of closed session, so I'll look for a motion for the confirming bylaw for today's meeting. Jerry and Kathy, all in favor? Carried. And a motion to adjourn. Jerry and Hart.